guys. Welcome to Pivot.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Joey, Ameer, I didn't give you much time for this whole interview podcast, so I'm sorry about that. But
We haven't slept since yesterday.
I'm sure you've been really nervous to talk to me, but it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
The nerves are calming down.
It's so nice to meet you. I've met you once or twice, sort of in the workspace of my husband, let's say, and you just come across as such electric, energetic guys with great vibes who love Knafeh. So I'm like, I have to have them on. They have so much to talk about, and I think we have a lot in common.
We certainly do, and thanks for having us.
No, thank you for coming. So they call you the bearded bakers. You have beards.
We do. We do now.
And so your background, from what I understand, is hospitality, events, branding, marketing, and clearly you have an interest in F&B.
Yeah.
And I knew of you from these amazing videos on Instagram of you guys jumping around doing debke and just creating havoc in the nicest way, like amazing chaos, let's say, where you're getting people to come to your stand, getting people to come to wherever you're selling your Knafeh through this, dance and just lovely vibe. And I just feel like, firstly, I'm sad I've never really tried it. Never been, but I'm going to very soon, hopefully. I wanted to sort of jump straight in, really, and ask you what made you go into F&B and why Knafeh?
Joe, you want to start off, or you want me to kick things off?
You can lay the foundations, AJ.
Well, it started, sometimes in life things find you.
Yeah.
And Joe and I, we grew up in a family that I guess wasn't extremely well off growing up. So I guess as soon as we were old enough to kind of work, and probably before we even legally allowed, we started washing dishes in cafe just to have a bit of, pocket money so we can buy our own things. And I think things progressed, from there. We did a few years in a kitchen and had an opportunity to work front house as servers. Mm-hmm. Waiters were called servers back then. And I think serving people and having that interaction with people gave us an opportunity to kind of showcase more of who we were. And so coming from a Middle Eastern family, Palestinian family, my mum's one of 11 and dad's one of 7 kids. So family get-togethers was quite eventful. It's always about food and
probably
hospitality.
Probably have to fight for your food with that number of people.
Actually, there was a lot of food, but it was about the family coming together and cooking and laughing and hospitality, right? And so I guess we had the, incredible balance of growing up in a house of really beautiful hospitality, and then we got to do it at work. And I guess the way we looked at working in cafes was, how cool is this? We're getting paid to kind of entertain people, kind of thing. And it was never meant to be a thing. This kind of just paved the path through our high school years, and one thing led to another. Joe and I, we started running little cafes and restaurants, and graduated from high school. And Joey wanted to be an auctioneer because you just give him a mic. So he's really happy to have the mic. So I thought that's why
I feel both of you like your mics. I
Actually,
think you're both really
first.
good at talking.
He keeps saying that, but he's the one doing the talking now.
Well, to be honest, I wanted to get him first. I wanted to get him first because I know once he starts, there's no chance I'm gonna go him.
By the way, sorry, what's your age difference?
There's only a year and 3-4 months.
1 year, 4 months, 2 days.
Okay, so you're twins,
hours.
basically.
Correct. We grew up as twins.
Yeah.
So mum would always buy 2 of everything. So Joey wanted to be an auctioneer, and I always wanted to be an architect. So lo and behold, we graduated from high school, and Joey wanted to do real estate, and I did architecture. So we'd study during the day for years and run restaurants at night. So Joey and I always worked together. So if you bought one, you got one for free. You got 2 as a package.
You seem like quite a dynamic duo, and do you feel like either of you have ever wanted to branch off on your own?
For sure. Yeah, I think there's, growing up, like,
you get tested. I think, as we started to open up our own businesses, we become quite sure of ourselves as you grow up. You sort of identify your own personal skill sets. And obviously Ameer's got an incredible skill set, and mine were on another spectrum, So for me, it was quite challenging at times, and I sort of like butt heads with Ameer a lot because he had a vision to do something and I had a vision to do something, and it was quite similar, but we just did it different ways. So I think over the years we used to test each other, and he's like, I think I'm just going to go out on my own, and I'm like, I'm happy with that. I'm happy to go out on my own too. But every time we tested each other, we'd sort of come back together.
So you probably are better together.
Well, that's the way fate's taken us. That's the way.
So far, that's how it is.
You know what it is? I think it's about understanding and harnessing everyone's skills.
Yeah.
Right. And so growing up, you're still trying to establish yourself and find what you're really good at. And so because everyone's got their own different characters and personalities, it took a while because we run a family-run business.
Yeah.
but we also now give it the respect that a global organization should have. And that's kind of how we separate it. But I guess building those foundations was the tricky part about how do we kind of take, because Joey and my sister Mona and myself and then my mum as well, like we're all alphas, even the females, right? And so you take all these strong personalities and say, okay, well, how do we make this work?
Yeah.
And so instead of challenging each other, go, all right, well, let's harness everyone's skills and either direct that in the right direction.
Yeah.
And I think when I think we're a lot better at that now. And I think that's when our businesses and brands started going to that next level where everyone was focusing their time and energy and focus into the areas that they're passionate about.
Yeah.
You know, for me, I look at the world from a creative perspective and how we can create and build brands that create value. And Joey's really good on the people side of things, you know, when it comes to...
So if I could ask you what you think your top 3 skills are, and Joey, what your top 3 skills are, what would they be?
Depends who you ask.
I'm asking you about okay, why don't you do Joey, and Joey, you do Ameer? Like, what do you think each other's skills are, and what are you bringing in? And obviously they're different. So what are you bringing in that's really adding value and you know, creating this success?
Well, there's a lot more than 3 things I can talk about, my brother.
That's why I said 3, because otherwise we're probably going to be sitting here.
I'll start off with the fundament, probably the foundation of obviously our success, to be honest. Ameer's always been a value man. And I think that derives from my father, especially. Ameer's never been really interested in the money aspect of things. And for me, I was more like my mother, where she'd stress over the money. My dad was always in the service of others in terms of how can we look after people. And I think Ameer's really brought that to life in our businesses from a value perspective. You know, we used to, when we developed, I'll take Knafeh as an example, we never looked at it as a business model. It was just an extension of who we are. And Ameer managed to create this beautiful value system within our organization. We can call it an organization now, but it was a side hobby at the beginning, and that people wanted to work with us because we knew what we had to offer to people, and we didn't monetize it. We just showed people what we can bring to the table. And then obviously the opportunities come after value.
I mean, I can totally see that. Like, just we're sitting with you guys, I just feel such great energy and loveliness coming from both of you. And I feel energized. Like, I was a bit sleepy.
Yeah.
I'm feeling great now.
So I think value, probably the number one thing for me, Ameer's always said it, and from our family to right through to our businesses, which we run them very similar, but quite separate, is that. Number 2 would probably have to be Ameer's discipline. He's super disciplined and he's got an incredible follow through. Or when he starts something, he's always working silently to achieve that. Even though over the years, like I was like very critical of Ameer because I'm a very person, show me what you're working on.
Yeah.
And
micromanaging maybe? No, just like I like to stay aware of what's happening. Okay, you want to be in the know.
I want to be in the know. And obviously when you're working with a highly creative person like my brother, you're never going to be able to know what he's working on. And it's not my responsibility to know what he's working on. Just let him do him. And when he's ready to bring it to life, we can be a part of that if that's how he develops, because that's when he works at his best.
Okay.
It's not what works good for me, it's what works good for him. So now I find myself having less arguments with him. I was always demanding and saying, you're not communicating, you're not doing 1, 2, 3, but I'm dealing with a creative. It's not his responsibility to communicate.
Yeah.
You know, he's got to lose himself within himself.
Exactly. It's a whole process. It's a creative process that you need to just go through.
And number 3 would probably be his loyalty. Like, my brother's a very loyal person. Anyone that crosses paths with him, I think if you have a friendship with him, it's going to be a long-lasting friendship, because my brother doesn't really have time for people that, I guess, like he looks at himself, value. You know, if you're not going to add value and bring that joy, love, respect, and that integrity in who you are, then my brother, you know, there's no time for it. Like, it's all small talk. And, you know, I think that really, that resonates with me a lot, because for me, I like to talk to a lot of people. And, you got to keep people at arm's length at times, but it's also nice to bring people in from a friendship perspective.
Yeah.
I think that's super important. So, yeah, he's got the loyalty down pat.
Okay. And now Ameer.
That's going to be hard to beat.
I feel like that might be a bit difficult.
Why do you think I speak first? Because he's really great at articulating things, and I got to try to match that.
I'm sure you'll be fine.
First thing that stands out with Joey, and it's quite evident, not just with me, but I think everyone that meets him, is
his beard.
Well, actually, that comes second. I think his passion for people.
Yeah.
I don't know anyone that can generate a conversation out of thin air and make people fall in love with him in like 30 seconds. And so that's a gift. I don't think it's put on. A lot of people see Joey in action and try to imitate this charisma and charm and, you know, this oozing of personality, right? And that can't be taught, you know. And so when Joey gives it, I don't think he even realizes it, but I think it's just this natural kind of charisma. Honestly, that's the best way to put it.
Yeah.
And so that's played a really big part in, obviously, you know, our relationship, but also more, just as important is like everything that we do.
Yeah.
You know, and that gets translated into our brands and businesses. And so he definitely, I think, leads by example, like, and sets a high standard for our team in terms of creating experiences. And for those that don't know a bit about, you know, our businesses and brands, whichever business we're talking about, I think they're all driven by hospitality and our passion for people.
Yep.
Everything we do starts with that. And how Joey's mentioned it earlier, like how do we bring value to people? And a lot of that value comes from the way we treat people.
Yep.
Not as a business thing, it's just like, it's just who we are. And looking back now, we realize that our relationship building has been a big part of our success. And definitely Joey is a catalyst for that, you know, leading, you know, that strong example and constantly inspiring me of how I can connect with people more. Because I thought I was outgoing, and then you sit with Joey and you realize how you can just, you know, turn a conversation just like that. It's a gift, you know. So definitely his passion and confidence, you know, with people. Joey wears his heart on his sleeve.
Yeah,
you know,
I can see that.
And sometimes, you know, he thinks well, everyone is in the world is like that. And so when it's not reciprocated, because when Joey gives, he gives more than 100%. And you'll meet someone and he's so transparent.
Yeah.
And he'll give all of himself to a point, even if it affects him. So that's a rare quality. Well,
it's a problem because also that's not what is reciprocated a lot of the time. Like you have wonderful people in the world, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But I think unconsciously, when you give so much, you kind of have an expectation that everyone's on the same level, and they're just not. And that can lead to disappointment sometimes.
Yeah.
It does. It happens a lot.
Yeah.
Still till now, because, you know, like I said, my brother and I, we're in the service of others. We love to support people, and not even from a financial perspective. We like to give, and sometimes we give our time and offerings to people, which is, I think everyone should be doing that. And then you can feel a little bit flat after conversation because everything just went over that person's head, and you're like, it's not a waste of a conversation. I know that passion and that fire will, as soon as I leave, it's going to get reignited like an hour or two later.
Yeah.
So,
and you may have just planted seeds for that person, which is still wonderful, you know. But what you received.
I don't need anything back. We always say to people, our cup's quite full.
That's great.
We're full of love. You know, we've had an incredible foundation of, you know, our value system. The way our parents raised us. I think they filled our cup up.
Yeah.
You know, with an overload of love. So, you know, true happiness likes to be shared, and for us, it's not money.
Yeah.
You know, we weren't raised on it with the family.
I think money follows where sort of the heart and soul is being put on a really deep level. So if you're doing something truly from your soul and from your heart that is really you and you're enjoying it, it will follow.
Yeah.
Hopefully. But I mean, that's what I've seen from, you know, people following their passions.
And the third one is, I think Joey quite often leaves a place better than he found it.
Ooh, that's a good one. I like that.
And generally that's
We've got to do more of these podcasts.
I know. I feel like, you know, if there were any issues prior to this, it should be squashed.
I just worked out my love language. It's words of affirmation.
Oh my gosh, well done. That's really nice.
Thanks,
okay, I want to ask you, so you guys lived or still technically live in Australia,
Correct.
right?
Yeah.
Do you feel that, so you're Palestinians, you grew up there, and obviously, you know. Born and raised, but you're Palestinians originally, and you were born and raised in Australia.
Yep, correct.
Do you feel because you lived abroad, and obviously that's not, you know, you're originally where you're from, that it brings you closer to your heritage or further away from your heritage?
Closer for me.
Yeah, I think we've had an interesting life. Obviously, you know, we're raised in Australia, and obviously my dad was obviously a very proud Palestinian. Obviously our father passed away when we were 17, so I think those years sort of left us a little bit empty in terms of that going to that next level.
Yeah.
And as we're getting older, we're sort of reconnecting with the way our father raised us from a very young age. Obviously, you know, as you're growing through your younger adolescent years, bit by bit you slowly mature and you become closer to who you really are.
Yeah.
But yeah, at this present moment now, we feel closer than ever.
Was that a pivotal moment?
That doesn't count because I haven't asked the question yet.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, you could throw it in there again if you want. But so you would say that you connected more so because sometimes, I mean, I see people, let's say Palestinians living in London or born and raised in London or born and raised in the US. So you either see them go one way, which is they kind of mold into an American without their heritage and they kind of lose their roots, or they are like you guys that become closer to them because it's not that you're overcompensating, it's that you want to stay close to who and true to your origins.
I think it was very hard for us. I'll speak on my behalf personally at school, telling people, first of all, you're Palestinian. If you look back, say 25 years ago, if you said to someone you're Palestinian, you know what media was saying 25 years ago about Palestine. Obviously now the conversation's a little bit different and we feel like we're a little bit more comfortable and open to have those conversations. But our parents raised us in a really unique way in terms of they showed us who we are underneath our roof, and it was up to us how we went out to the world and presented that, when we felt it was right to bring up these conversations, we brought them up, but we didn't, we weren't going around waving the Palestinian flag through, Castle Hill High, for example, the school that we went to. But we tried to educate him in a polite and respectful way. Our father was born in Jerusalem. My mother was born in Jordan. We showed them the best of who we are, and we hope that we left a positive impact on them.
I think that's the most powerful thing, like just sort of educating through action and grace rather than aggression and shouting, and that's amazing.
Your upbringing plays a big part.
Yeah.
With that, and even now, I think that gets also followed through and translated in our business. I think a lot of businesses and brands that, even from Australia, like especially people from in the Middle Eastern sector, like people come out and say, "I'm an Arab, this is what I do," or "I'm Christian, this is what I do," or "I'm Muslim, and this is what I do." We just focus on being the best at what we do, right? And we don't mix our political or religious view with our business. With all due respect, they're quite different. Yeah. Like I don't walk into a cafe and I go, "What religion are you?" So we focus on being the best.
Because it's irrelevant.
Well, and then so what we do though is that we focus on being the best at what we do, and people go, "Where are you guys from?" And we'll go, "We're Palestinian." They go, "You're kidding?" And they walk away and go, "Wow, like that's incredible." Rather than being that at the forefront of, what you do or who you are. No, like we're defined by all these elements that come together. And so our focus is always being at the best of who we are and what we can do. And when people ask, they go, "Well, we're Palestinian. Our team's made up of men from all around the Middle East."
Yeah.
And so I think that's been a really good learning experience as well. Like Knafeh has really taught us a lot, from a social perspective and how people interact with it. Because it's quite a bold brand in a sense where it's in your face. Like you got these Middle Eastern men singing and dancing to Arabic music.
With big beards.
It's not subtle.
Yeah, no, it's not subtle. Well, you guys are not subtle. You weren't trying to be subtle, clearly.
No, correct. We're not here to blend in.
Well, the thing is, you could have been subtle. You could have just created a little Knafeh brand and said, "Oh yeah, here's our dish."
Or like a sweet shop, like everybody else.
From our hometown, etc.
Yeah, exactly.
But you went the other way, but you're entertaining people. You're drawing attention in a really positive way. It's fun. It looks so fun.
Even the style of the way we do Knafeh, it has that same mentality as well around it as well. We don't do traditional Knafeh. We put a little bit of a twist on it to make it a little bit more approachable and welcoming to everyone, so everyone can enjoy the experience. It's not traditional Palestinian Knafeh. It's quite open, and I think the best way to describe it is it's very warm and welcoming. It's not really about the Knafeh. It's just an extension of our personalities and our love for people.
Oh, I love that.
It's a meeting place for people.
Can I try it, please?
Well, funny you ask. Can we get 2 Knafeh? No,
2, please.
Next week.
Guys.
Next week we're launching it to Katura, so stay tuned.
Yeah. So I mean, we can. First, before we go into that, we're gonna go into the pivots. Okay. So, as I said, you guys can talk about this together or independently. But can you both tell me about a pivot that's been significant to both of you? I feel like you've already mentioned a few, by the way, but let's go with one again. Tell me about a pivot that's been significant to you, enough to say it's really a big reason as to how we're sitting here today as Ameer and Joey.
Go for it, Ameer. You can go first.
Well, the thing that stands out for me the most is, I guess, how my 2 worlds came together. And that is, I guess, my passion for people and hospitality, and then my love of architecture. And I think probably Knafeh is the best way to showcase that. And so it was many years ago when I was studying architecture that the whole idea of shipping containers came to light. And I think I did 6-7 years at uni just to take one case study. And so many years ago, architects were transforming shipping containers into apartments for living.
Yeah.
And for some crazy, reason, it just struck a chord with me. And so for many years, every time I'd see a shipping container on the back of a truck or a loading dock or wherever it may be, I go, I'm going to do something with one of those one day. Anyway, years passed, we fell into the hospitality, the F&B industry. And through one of our restaurants, I guess all of our restaurants became our creative outlet.
Yeah.
For hospitality, but for me it was more about the architecture and design and creativity. And the Knafeh took off from one of our restaurants, and we had to alleviate the pressure off this restaurant because the demand was so strong for this dessert. And I go, what are we going to do? And I think it was at that point, it was a big pivotal moment for me because I felt like that's where my two worlds came together. And I go, that's what it's been all these years. Knafeh and shipping containers. Like, it made no sense, but I knew that's what it was. And like Joey said earlier, it was this little side project that no one really thought anything of. And we're working on it behind the scenes. And at the time, Joey was running the cafe and I was running the restaurant. And so we'd work on it during the day and run the restaurant at night. And before you know it, we ran a test kitchen, and we realized on that first night that we created a monster.
That's
it was
really cool.
Yeah, it was literally this little side project, and we knew that.
When was that? How long
this
ago
was
was
in
that?
2014.
Oh, a while ago.
Yeah, we've been touring for eight years now, I think. But it's true when people say experience breeds expertise, because I think we put all of our years in our upbringing and our culture and architecture and hospitality and all these elements, right? And then I guess experiencing hospitality in restaurants and cafes into this really simple concept. And just to give you an idea, this whole business is built around one product. We don't have a menu. There's no sizes. There's no variations. Like, you can't change the dish.
Oh, it's simplifying it as well. It's really...
to an extreme.
Yeah, it is to an extreme.
To a point where the only thing the customer tells you is how many they want.
Yeah.
And so we realized that Joey and I and our family, we've always been driven by experience. And so we thought, in order to get away with just this one product concept, we really got to create value in other areas.
Yeah.
And that's that hospitality, the experience. And I think no matter what industry you're in, I think it always comes down to the way you make people feel, irrelevant of whatever you do.
In life, yeah, I agree completely.
And so I think that was a big pivotal moment for me, where I knew that, because I think for so many years, the creative industry, or if you're a creative, there's a lot of people that struggle to make ends meet. And I met a lot of people that are passionate about what they do, but they didn't realize they could make it into or monetize that. So for me personally, I didn't want to be one of those creative guys that struggles to make ends meet. I thought, how do we find the balance between being creative but also being a savvy
businessman?
Yeah, because you don't want to be too extreme.
The art and then the
100%.
business. I mean,
you see heaps of creative people that are doing something that they love, but they're struggling to make ends meet.
Because I think they're only thinking with one brain, and you need to think with both.
Yeah.
To survive and to bring in an income. Correct.
So for me, it was bringing my passion of both of my passions and really turning it into a strong business. But honestly, it started with passion, really, about how do we bring value to people, and then I think the momentum grew really quickly.
Well, clearly, and 8 years later, here you are.
With God's grace.
With God's grace. Okay, Joey?
Mine happened quite young. Obviously, my brother and I mentioned earlier, we started working at a very young age. Obviously, due to the financial pressure that we used to feel through my mum and dad, they never burdened us with any issue. A lot of their conversations they used to actually have in the room without us hearing it. But, as a child, you feel things and you see things. And the ironic thing is our parents never deprived of us of anything that we wanted. My mum always managed to find a way to make it happen, whether to lay by something. I remember going back.
Great parents. That's
I remember once we went for pizza one night to my dad's friend's restaurant, and Ameer and I come across these two Apollo street wraps. They were bikes, the old school bikes. And I remember looking at them like, wow, like look at these bikes. And I remember the price of them. They were $250 each back then. We went in there, we had a chat with them. Little did we know, my mum went back in there a couple of days later and put a $20 deposit on those bikes, when $20 was a lot of money.
Yeah.
You know, my mum was working in a sandwich shop, you know, working 2 jobs. My dad had a work injury where he couldn't work at the time. And, you know, that sort of planted a little bit of a seed for me in my heart that everything's possible.
Yeah.
You just got to obviously work out how you're going to get there and what you're going to do. Obviously, as the years went along, my brother and I started working really hard, and I thought, I never want to struggle. I don't want my mum feeling this way. I don't want my dad feeling this way. I remember my dad used to hide his gold coins inside this little pocket here. And I remember, like, I used to ask him, Dad, can I get money for the canteen? And my dad had no cash, seriously, no cash in pocket. But he was always tingling, always had coins.
Yeah.
And I thought, I never, like, it hurt me a lot, like, to even asking money. And I really wanted something from the canteen. And that really developed my work ethic, you know. I thought, the only way not to feel like this is to work really hard so my parents don't have to struggle with money. So I went off to work for multiple places in Ameer, and I were working together. I think I just took things to the next level. We started working in cafes and restaurants, and I thought, going back to what Ameer said, how can we create value and people wanting us to work more for them? So I offered more of my services after kitchen hand. I was like, who does your cleaning here in this place? And they're like, oh, there was a couple of people that were doing the cleaning at the time. I'm like, I'm happy to do it. If anyone's ever sick, I'm happy to jump in. Lo and behold, a week and a half later, one of them was sick. One of the cleaners sick, and I jumped in and I cleaned the place like it had never been cleaned before. And the next day, the owners came in and they go, who cleaned this place today? Like, there's something different.
That's Arab cleaning. It's just like
yeah, very detailed.
Clorox and bleach and it's shining. I can only imagine.
And at the time, I was getting $12 an hour working as a kitchen hand. And then they go, would you like to take over our cleaning contract? And I go, I'd love to. And this is like, 15 years old. And then they started paying me $110 a night just to clean the place. And I used to do it in an hour.
Wow. That's a lot of money when you're 15 years old.
It's a lot of money. And I was like, I did that for 6 months, and I went to my mum at the end of year 10. I go, Mum, I'm leaving school, because you have the option to leave year 10.
Did you?
Yeah, you have the option if you want to continue your career in like a trades or an industry. And my mum got very angry. I'm not going to tell you how she smacked me, but she smacked me. And she goes, I never raised you on money.
Yeah.
And that was sort of like a bit of an eye-opener for me. I'm like, here I am working my butt off trying to make money so we don't have to stress. I go, Mum, you don't even have to work. I can make a lot of money and you can just relax and the rest of it. As the years went along, business always stayed in my heart. I go, business is the key to obviously get us that freedom and that happiness. I thought, money was that thing that was going to get me that freedom.
Freedom, exactly.
And obviously it does give you freedom, and I think it's very important, but it doesn't bring you the happiness. And for me, I'm a very happy, chappy, out there, crazy, high energy person. So I've got this like super savvy business side, and I've got this crazy fun side. So if someone was to see me in a business mode, they'd be like, this guy doesn't have fun. If someone was to see me in this fun, crazy mode, they go, this guy's a party boy. And when Knafeh was born, I'm going to fast track it many years because there was a lot that happened in between there. The pivot moment for me was, and it went back to my childhood, was make your vocation your vacation. In other words, make your workplace your holiday destination. And I really feel like Knafeh has really given me that opportunity to exercise, having fun and doing business in the one place.
I love that. So make your vocation your vacation.
Yeah, so make your workplace your holiday destination. And Knafeh
you still feel that way? Do you still feel like when you're, walking into a pop-up or whatever, and do you feel that way?
Well, put it this way, we should come to Dubai for holidays. Now we need to find somewhere else to go to holidays because we live here.
Yeah. So do you actually live here full time?
We're
based here for now.
You're based here for
now. So we're bringing Knafeh. We launch Knafeh next week, but we're bringing a few Australian concepts to the region.
Where are you launching Knafeh next week?
Well, maybe your hubby gave you a bit of insight.
Okay, but tell the listeners, tell the viewers. By the way, I didn't know until yesterday.
Oh, really?
I had no idea. I swear, I had no clue. So I'm really excited.
We are launching a Katura Reserve.
Okay.
In the Maidan area.
Maidan.
And yeah, we're really fortunate. Honestly, it came out of a connection. A friend of ours introduced us to Tamed from Pinza, and through Tamed we met Talal from Mag and your beautiful husband. And honestly, a friendship developed, and we had dinner there a couple of times. And then, I don't know, Tamed is a smooth guy. He took us for a bit of a tour, and before you know, Talal took us up on a ladder, and we're on a rooftop. I don't know, I think they put something in our drink or something, and next minute we're creating a bakery rooftop experience.
They did the hangover experience.
Cool.
It is a beautiful,
really cool. Like a rooftop experience in the middle of this couture reserve, or where fire is, in case
what a
anyone's
beautiful
been
restaurant
there. It's
fire
just so
is.
beautiful. I feel like it's this again, like
It's
I
an
said earlier,
oasis.
it's like a park oasis.
It's like for
so
me,
beautiful.
when I saw all the olive trees, it's like the gateway to heaven. Like
Yeah.
it was so beautiful. Like you got these white pebble rocks on the ground. You got these beautiful olive trees from around the world. Like they've done an incredible job
olive
to
trees
bring.
are sacred, you know what I mean? So it gives that vibe. There's something very special about what they've done, really.
Yeah.
We definitely had a connection with the property.
Yeah.
And
Well,
think
I guess and Tamir and Talal and
Yeah,
Faisal,
yeah, yeah.
like it was all just one
For sure.
great little spot.
it came together, and I think we had a few other opportunities, and I think when this came about, it felt so good. You know,
Felt right.
the people, the passion, the property, everything about it. And we thought, you know what, it all happened literally in a couple of weeks, and we're opening up next week. So
Yeah, these guys move fast.
yeah,
Yeah, they
They
do.
move really
We-
fast,
we-
which I think is great because I'm an impatient person. So
Yeah,
if I
yeah,
was you,
yeah.
I'm like, amazing, 3-4 weeks, like that's nuts.
And before you knew it, we flew a team in from Australia, and so no, listen, we're excited, and we feel like this is even just a stepping stone in terms of what we want to bring to the region, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot of amazing things and people to meet here, and it really has already. Like the people that we're meeting is just. It's incredible. It's been really inspiring, and we're really excited. I guess showing Dubai and the region, I guess, who these Aussies from down under are, well, Aussie Palestinians.
Yeah.
You know, what we can do here. So, no, we're pumped.
That is so good. I can't wait to try it. And I feel like we're just going to push everyone to go to Couture Reserve and just eat all the food, guys. There's so much food there. Okay, amazing. So, both of you, what are some of the things that you have to do daily to keep you in this space, your energy high, upbeat? So do you have a routine? Do you have a couple of things that you have to do every day to keep you in this headspace of sort of positive, successful day, let's say?
Well, I look at Joe and I think it comes naturally for him. It's not as natural for me, but no, I've got a set of routines and daily habits, which I'll get into in a sec. But
Okay.
Joe, you go.
Well, back in Australia, for me, I had to have my cup of coffee nice and early before everyone got up. Like I just needed that space just for myself, because obviously I love being around people. And obviously as I got older, I realized I need some downtime just for myself. And I got to beat my mum, beat my brother to having a coffee, even though every morning we have a coffee together. I just needed that little, 15, 20 minutes. Alone time. For me, it was like, having a coffee in the backyard, cleaning our pool, cleaning every single leaf in my pool. For me, that was... Yeah, that was a little bit...
Bit of OCD?
Yeah.
A little bit of OCD, okay.
And I thought, if I can start my day by clearing all the crap in my backyard, I felt like the moment I did that, the rest of the day was going to be quite...
But that's a thing. That's an actual thing. And as you're an artist or a creative, I'm just going to give you one book that you should both read, both of you. And it's like a couple of weeks of a course, but that's what the beginning of the course does every single day. So it's called The Artist's Way. I don't know if you've ever heard of it.
No.
But anyways... We'll talk about that later. But one of the things in the morning is to write down 4 to 5 pages every single morning as soon as you open your eyes. So all the mess and all the gunk that's at the top of your consciousness comes out.
Yep.
And then you are fresh for the rest of the day.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And
Sorry,
for
continue.
us, for me personally, we always said, success starts from our personal life. And, we're very proud of, the presentation of your front yard of your house, your backyard of your house. We love having people over. So for us, for me, it was very big. I always wanted our pool to look beautiful.
Yeah.
It was a reflection of, when you walk into someone's home, if something's been dusted off, their pool's clean. For us, I thought, this is a pride moment, and I think for us and for me personally, I felt like if I can start from my backyard where I'm having my coffee, as soon as I walk back into the house, whether it be doing the dishes, making my bed, wiping a bit of dust off the table, putting something back away that shouldn't be there, I felt like that was the gateway to my day. So for me, that's how I was starting my day in Australia. In Dubai at the moment now, it's still getting up early, having a coffee altogether. The dynamics are a little bit different.
Yeah.
So I'm adjusting. Now I'm getting back into my fitness, running.
Okay.
So that's been good, getting up early in the morning, running with one of our bakers is a personal trainer. So he's been getting me fit and right.
Oh, great.
Yeah, so it's like full-time
How
PT.
convenient. Yeah, full-time PT with you all the time.
But we're doing stretches, cardio, weights, so really cool. So that's me at the moment.
Amir?
I I kind of realized that we become a product of our habits.
Yes.
Good and bad ones. And they shape us. And so I thought, if I can have a series of really good habits throughout my day, that will help me become a more disciplined, happier, passionate person. And so I'll give you a couple of examples. Up until maybe 5-6 years ago, I'd wake up in the morning, and would you believe I'd open my eyes, and the first thing that I would do is reach for my phone and go through social media and messages and emails, and I'm still waking up, and I'm watching other people live their life, and it kind of creates this, like, I'm not gonna say anxiety, but like, I'm still waking up, and imagine what kind of man am I becoming if the first thing that I'm doing is looking at social media. And so this is probably about 5-6 years ago, and I said to myself, I started setting little rules for myself.
Yeah.
And so the first thing I do now is when I wake up in the morning, my rule is I say a prayer. Now I do it second nature. I don't even touch my phone. I don't even reach for it anymore. So I wake up and sit up, and I'll say a prayer, and I go freshen up, and then we'll have a coffee, and I really believe that is a great start. You know,
I think that's a beautiful start, and everyone's guilty of that. Everyone is guilty of looking at their phone. I do it, and I just can't stop. Like, I really need to put the phone on the other side, lock it in a room somewhere.
It's a disease.
It's really a problem.
Yeah.
It's a huge underrated problem, which is gonna have effects we're probably gonna find out later, because we're the first to go through this. But yeah, I think that's amazing. So,
and I journal a lot, and so I try to, because we have a lot happening, I try to get everything out from here and write it down.
Oh, amazing. That's really great. I do the same thing.
And something I'm trying to instill into our team is that, you know, on a Sunday night we have a bit of a ritual now, and we open up 2 pages of our journal, and on the left hand side we write, the title is things that I'm grateful for from the past week. And then on the right hand side we write our weekly goals. And I really believe these two kind of complement each other. You write things you're grateful for, and small things, and it'll spark an idea of something that's coming up, you know, for this week. And I think once you have this beautiful balance of things that you're grateful for, because so many things happen in our week, and we move on to the next thing, but when you actually reflect on your past week, you go, I am so lucky, I am so blessed. All these small things that it just happened, but I didn't really think about it. So when you reflect on it and you write it down, and the fact that you write it down, actually it resonates more. And I think this plays a big part into who we are as well. And for me personally anyway, I think gratitude, being grateful. Like, and I learned this from my mum. Every morning I wake up and I kiss the ground and I go, thank you, Lord, for giving us more than we deserve. And every day we feel that. You know, if it ended tomorrow, I'd go, you know what, we had a good run. And so for me personally, I treat every day like it's our last one, and I think you end up enjoying it more.
I mean, I was going to ask you, because I think I was going to ask you how much, so what role faith has had in your journey, but it sounds like it's had
massive,
a huge role
for sure
in your journey.
Yeah. I think when you have faith as your foundation, it creates this win-win everywhere you go. And everything we do, we'll do our part, and I'll go, Lord, you take over from here. And so it puts you in, like I said, a win-win, because if the opportunity presents itself, you go, thank you, Lord. And if it doesn't,
you say thank you.
Thank you, Lord.
Yeah.
And so we realize that I think sometimes a closed door can be a blessing.
I think exactly. I think what people like struggle to understand or realize in the moment when a door is being closed, or something's failing, or they're being thrown just a wrong end of the stick. It truly is protection in some way. We don't know from what, but it's protection from you. You may realize it later, but it's just amazing.
For sure.
We have to change our perspective.
Totally.
Yeah.
And these are all the things that, I guess, to answer your question, is that why we are who we are. It's a product of the million small things that we do every single day.
Yeah.
Our faith. We spoke about family already. Good friendships.
Yep.
And even for me, like throughout my day, I try to call someone or message someone I haven't spoken to in a long time. It could be a 30-second conversation. I go, hey, just want to say that I love you and I was thinking of you. Literally, it takes...
that's so sweet.
You know, imagine every day you called or messaged someone, just say, hey, I was just thinking of you. Hope you're doing well. I love you. Imagine everyone did that.
Yeah, I mean, do people do that? I mean, I do it. I don't know how I don't know if other people do this.
Yeah, but imagine it was part of your day, like every day.
You're saying it's like part of your checklist to do.
Yeah,
it's part of your day.
It's part of our personality now. I think, just checking up on friends, and we don't need anything from just checking up, making sure they're all good.
That's really cute. I think
that's quite special.
It is.
And so you meet people and people go, oh my God, like,
and then hopefully other
your
people
energy,
start to do that.
like,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
so
yeah.
it's all these, it's your faith, your family, your friendships, your small habits that you throughout your, I think you've got to be conscious of your habits. And there's a lot of things that we do throughout our day that we don't realize we're doing that have a negative impact, you know, on us. And so I think when you become more conscious of all the small things that you're doing, you can start, I guess, working towards more positive habits.
Yeah. Self-correct yourself.
Yeah.
There's a lot of self-correcting rather than, you know, looking at what other people mistakes other people are doing. You start correcting your behavior.
Well, that's the only thing you can control, right? So it's
that's where the magic
way
happens.
to go. Exactly.
That's where the true magic happens.
I couldn't agree more. Okay, so how do you? Every industry has negativity, jealousy, haters, people trying to undercut you, people trying to replicate you. This goes on and on and on.
You're kidding.
Well, I'm just saying it to like introduce what I'm about to say, but no, I mean
that happens.
It exists. So, have you guys gone through an experience like this? And if you have, how have you dealt with it?
You go first, Joe.
I think early on in the piece, obviously, with Knafeh, we gained a lot of attention. Like we're not the first people to do Knafeh.
Yeah.
Or the last. So there's going to be a lot of people doing Knafeh. Obviously, we just wanted to bring something to the market that we felt like we had something different and unique to offer that couldn't be replicated, and that was the way we made people feel.
Yeah.
Obviously, you know, we're not in the product business. People come around, they go, we make better Knafeh. We're like, listen, we're not in the... My mum's that's just an interpretation of one of her recipes.
It's a family recipe. Right?
Yeah, that's just one of them.
Yes.
My mum's got multiple recipes with Knafeh. I don't think we have enough time to even serve the world all the different types of recipes our mum can make. But obviously, it comes down to the way we make people feel. And that's a big part of our business, is the way our ethics, our values. It's not actually tactical business moves that we make.
Yeah.
It's the way we present ourselves and what we give people that gives us the opportunity. We've been fortunate enough over the years that, you know, we just continue being ourselves, and people roll out the red carpet for opportunities for us. And when people do copy us in one image, we're already working on the next concept or experience around
Knafeh. Not
Knafeh.
right? So it's never actually going to be replicated because it's not. You can't replicate both of you.
Yeah, we used to get upset.
Yeah, I think you can tell when something's authentic.
Now we don't get upset. If someone was to copy like our logo, our image, our Knafeh, we're like, that's a testimony that we've done something right. But you know, we're constantly moving and innovating ourselves. You know, we're innovators, not duplicators.
Yeah.
So for us, we always want to raise that bar for ourselves. We've never looked at how anyone
So you're
ever...
not looking backwards. You're just like...
We don't even look
forwards.
left and right.
Yeah,
People come up and send us photos of people that've copied us and doing stuff. We're like...
Good luck to them.
Our head's in the game of like...
It's flattery for... Like, honestly, it makes us feel like we must be doing something right if people think we're in a Knafeh business or we're in an entertainment business or... So, like I said, we're so focused on what we do and what we can bring and...
Raising the bar for ourselves.
And like Joey said, I think Knafeh is only one of our projects. And so... If people want to copy what we do, I think it'll become very evident that it's not authentic because it's not real, right? And so imagine, you know, there was a concept that came out and people just do Knafeh and they're singing and dancing, or they got guys together. Like people can say, oh my God, like they're trying to copy the bearded bakers. And so I think the best way to protect ourselves is that we try to be the best at what we're doing.
Yes.
And we're always reinventing the experiences of what we're doing. And for us, we're just having fun, honestly. We don't look at it as too much of a business. We say, how do we bring value to people and bring joy to people? And I think with that philosophy, you continue having a good time. But listen, you can't stop people from trying to imitate. But honestly, it doesn't really worry us because we're so comfortable with what we do and what we can bring.
And who we are.
So I see that.
Yeah.
With you guys.
And so and we just focus on that, to be honest.
Okay. So... Guys, this is a bit of a random question, but I'm curious. So what's a place that you've both traveled to individually or together that you have found to be really special and that has stuck with you?
For me personally, in 2010, I visited the Holy Land in Palestine, Jerusalem. Ooh. And I remember walking down the stairs, of the Holy Sepulchre, and I went down there and there was people from all around the world, all different religions, walking down into the stairs of the Holy Sepulchre, and I saw this person of determination leaning on the tomb of where Jesus was, and his arms were spread out, and there was probably about 100 people just looking at this person. No one interrupted, and thousands of people come and they place their objects of faith for their blessings. And I remember sitting back and just observing this person, how the connection of faith is so important. You know, this person of determination was leaning, and everyone just paid respect to this person. There was a beautiful connection. I actually started to tear up. I was like, wow, even if I don't go close to it, I think I've really experienced something that's very special to me. And I'll never be able to forget that moment of how important faith is to an individual. I can't talk on other people's behalf, but I will talk on mine. My faith is everything. You know, my faith is my conscience. It's everything that we do. And I think for me, it's probably one of the most significant moments of my life that I'll never be able to forget. Even if I go off the rails, maybe for a day or two, or a week or 3 months, I think I've always got a grounding place to go back to. And for me, that was one of those moments that I'll never forget.
That's beautiful. That is really special. And you, Ameer?
Closer to home than I first expected. We've been fortunate enough to travel around the world through our work, mostly for the last maybe 9 years. But I don't know, I've got this incredible connection with country New South Wales. I think when I go to the Outback, and I think I was a bit of a...
Did you say South Wales?
No, country New South Wales. So we're from Sydney, New South Wales.
I was like, South Wales? I've been to South Wales. It's not, I mean, it's nice, well, but...
I would have loved that to be the answer for you, but...
No, it's not that nice.
But it's about me, not you, sorry.
Yeah, sorry, I mean...
No, I'm joking.
I'll try to keep really quiet over here. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, listen, the Outback for me, I think I've got that old... I don't know, I feel like I was a cowboy, you know, in a past life. So when I'm out and just with nature, and my brother races horses for a living, so that connection with horses is amazing. So I think about when I'm in the countryside, I have this dream about, you know, building and creating, you know, a ranch, you know, for my family, and a place where we can all get away and enjoy the simple life. And I think creating a place where it's away from the rat race. And for me, it's not about fancy buildings and hotels and restaurants. It's about really connecting with nature, and a place where I can, I guess, nourish the soul, and going back to basics and enjoying the simple life. So I think for me, it's more about a feeling than a place. But I think that place really creates that feeling for me. And I think the countryside, you know, if we can find a place where the countryside meets the ocean, and we create a bit of a, like I said, a ranch or a getaway property with horses and kids running around, and our own garden and things that we love doing.
Yeah.
You know, and so
I think
about that a lot.
That's exactly how my husband would have answered the question as well, and probably myself as well. I can't imagine something nicer. Like, just, I love the countryside and being out for that exact reason. Like, connecting with nature is so important.
Yeah.
And animals, and so I agree with you. Couldn't have answered better.
You prefer the first answer though?
I like both answers. I think they're both great.
No, about Wales.
Oh, Wales. I mean, wait. Have you ever been to Wales?
Not yet.
So when you do go to Wales, let me know what you think. Okay? That's all I'm gonna say.
We could have answered that question
Wales.
in so many different ways.
Yeah. No, but I mean, I love both of your answers so much, and they were interpreted differently as well, which I think is great. Guys, this was great. What have I missed? I feel like I've missed something.
Well, we've got some questions for you.
No, that's not allowed.
Oh, okay.
Oh, no, we can go back and forth, but anyways.
We're going to have to invite you to our podcast.
Yeah.
Do you have a podcast?
We're working on it.
Okay, well, I'm there whenever you want.
Done.
This was amazing. I'm so happy you've come, and I can't wait to try Knafeh next week. And we'll give an update to everyone once I've tried the Knafeh with you guys.
Sounds good.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks for your time.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Wait, ready? 1, 2, 3, go.
Cut.